Everybody, join us, join us, join us. Just a couple minutes. We're just waiting for others to come. So hang out with us from Helena, Montana. We see a few people popping on there, but join us as you're getting your alerts. Share it with a friend. See you in a minute. Wow. Hi, everybody.
That countdown is so long.
It's long. I know, but they have to have them. They say we got to have a long countdown because people like doing all these different things and then they're coming and they're seeing it happen. And I don't know. That's just
welcome.
What they say. Yeah. I hope you can hear everybody. We got a little tech check here because we are in Helena, Montana. That's right.
That's it.
And during the intro, I kind of gave the camera view around a little bit. I can't move it now because I'm afraid I can't get it back right. No. But we are in our mobile rolling home here.
Home away from home.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess it's home.
It's home.
It's home.
It's home.
We're home.
So this is it. And we are at an RV, kind of sea of RVs, RV park
yeah.
Here. And it has been crazy just getting here.
Wow. Wow. If only you knew.
Yeah. So as you know, we're going to be talking about forgiveness tonight. And so here's what we're going to put it to the test because tonight you're going to have to forgive us a little bit because this is not as put together as it could be. Something that I realized that I didn't think about when we travel a lot, she drives and I work. I like pull things together. So like perfect time. We're in Bozeman. We be coming up here. I just get some work done.
And I would drive.
And you drive. I didn't calculate.
I don't want to drive.
She doesn't want to drive this big beast.
40-foot trailer.
Yeah. She doesn't have a lot of experience driving the big rigs. And so, speaking of the big rig and this place that we are, you're going to be getting a video soon. People keep asking, show us the place. We're going to. I promise. We have just been slammed trying to get this thing ready. We bought it used. It's new to us, but both the truck and the trailer, although we're very grateful and they're nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got work. They had work to be done.
We had a lot of work to do.
Cleaning.
Anytime you move, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
And so I think we underestimated, because this is small, I underestimated still how much work it would be to get my life whittled down from all that big house to
Yeah, definitely.
whatever 200 square feet. But it worked.
But
We're
it worked.
here.
Yeah.
And we're doing good.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're doing good. So, by the way, as you're coming on board, we should remind you our normal spiel, just so you know what's going on. This is Eternal Impact's live stream, and we are, although mobile, we are still Joan and Jennifer Garrick, and we are unapologetically here to lift up the ways of Jesus, to promote grace, and to strive to learn, think, and live like Jesus Christ. So that's the plan. We believe in a triune God who loves us and calls us to live out the good news where we live, work, and play. So those that are hanging with us normally, you know that. Those that may be here for the first time, we just want you to know that's the landscape of what's going on here. We're just a couple of, normal folk. But we're passionate about this idea of living out the gospel. Yeah. And part of what we're doing, hun, is living out that gospel, even by doing this. For us, not everyone's called to do what we're doing. We're all called to the Great Commission, to love, and Great Commandment, to love God, to love others, and to deliver good news and be good news to people. We're called to that, but we all have different little commissions, right? We're all called to different things. Right. And explain a little bit about what happened as we came and how we came here, because there's been a lot of confusion. People are like, "Oh, but here you guys
Did
moving?
You move to Montana?
What's happening? You didn't even tell us. How come?" It's like, whoa.
Well, if you've been following us at all, you know that we've been on the hunt for a fifth wheel so that we could be mobile, just like we are right now, because we are hunting out the perfect spot to open a retreat home in the future. So the easiest way to do that is go to the locations where we think it might fit. Helena is not one of them. However, this is on the way to some other places that we hope to go. When we got our fifth wheel, it was delivered to Bozeman, Montana. And yay, that happened to also be where my brother and sister-in-law and their family were. So a double blessing. We got to take a trip to Montana. And boy, my brother and sister-in-law, David and Mandy, you're on here tonight, again.
Kelsey, Christopher, any of them
all
on there?
Of you guys, thank you.
Rock stars. Now, they're probably not on here because they're like, hey, we've had enough of them.
I know.
Oh, my. We've had enough.
We worked them really hard.
Just, please. But speaking of, and thanks for clarifying a little bit. Yeah. And how did we get here, by the way?
What do you mean?
How did we get to Montana?
So Samuel, our son, and his girlfriend Jordan rode all the way up to Montana and dropped us off. It was so weird, John. It's like we're the ones getting dropped off for college. We handed the keys to the Highlander to Sam. My car. Handed it over to Sam.
Gave him gas money.
Some
money for snacks and food.
And then sent them back to our house.
And they start college.
And I went shopping for like dorm room size things for my home.
Yeah, so weird.
Everything, the roles are kind of reversed in this whole process. But what a fun adventure. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And it's not for, forever. We're not like, we're moving in the fifth wheel forever. But it's going to be a crazy journey. You know what this is driving me crazy too. It's like just a little off. You're like, it's a little off-centered. There we go.
That's because you picked it up and shown it around.
Are we okay now? Scoot over.
You can get closer to me.
All right. Oh, we're a little more centered. Hi.
By the way, this ended up being a pretty sweet setup for us.
Oh yeah.
In here,
I mean, I wish you could see. It's so weird. We're like sitting in front of the fireplace. It's not on, however, because it's like still 90 outside. 90. But we got like the televator, which is good. That goes up and down. We got the camera on it, so we could level it just right. It's just crazy.
It was like
we're looking out right now at a sea of campers, RVs, mobile homes, everything, every variety. Cute little kids out there playing in their little blow-up pool. Cool. But anyway, that's what it is, and that's how we got here. I want to say that if you're on tonight, we need to know, because a little tech check. We need to know that things are going through, that they're being recorded. Otherwise, we could just be talking to the wind here at this point. So
that would be sad.
Let us know. Let us know if you're on. Let us know what's going on, because we're going to talk a little bit about our week last week. Some exciting things coming up for this month for Team G. And also, we're going to talk about forgiveness. That is, if people are on. And maybe if not, we'll just record it. Maybe if it's not going live, maybe it's recording. Yeah, it could be. But we see some people on there, but it's low numbers tonight.
Where
Low
is
numbers.
everybody?
So where is everybody? Let's make sure. I need to know that we're broadcasting. So
send a comment.
yeah, send a comment and just let us remind you that when we're live streaming, we can see all of your threads, whether you're going to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're getting the stream, we can see you when you comment, and we can see the people that are on there, but we can't see, what we can't see is we can't see who you are or where you are.
We just know the number of
Yeah,
people.
just know the numbers. And so we see people on there, but yeah, don't be just a stalker, just to listen. Pipe
Be brave,
in.
just say hi.
Yeah, because we don't have a guest tonight. Last week was sweet.
That was really fun.
That was fun.
John and Candace.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys like them?
Yeah.
I told you you would.
Yeah.
They are so fun. And that was one of our favorite. Well, we had a lot of favorite
Yeah,
stops,
there was a
but
lot.
we had Sam with us when we visited.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And that made it extra special because they're young. A lot of ping pong happened.
Yeah, and in their at their place in California,
Yeah.
that was cool to have
Yeah.
Sam as a part of that too. Yeah. So anyway, it's super fun to be with you from Montana, but we do want to hear that you're there because if you're not, hey, we might be ending early. Just we don't want to waste our dad jokes, which are going to be really good today.
Oh, yeah.
We don't just waste them on a recording where no one's there. So give us comments, let us know, and really let us know that you can hear us because we're, the internet, we had to do it here for those tech geeks that are out there. We had to, set up some funky system. We're still using our Sony camera, but we had to use the Rode mics, go-tos, wireless go-tos, and we think they're working. It looks like we're getting meter reading that they're coming through, but we're not listening because the internet's so bad we can't listen back we're using all of our bandwidth to send this stream out. So do let us know if you're getting this and if it's going live. And you're checking on Facebook. You're trying to check on Facebook, is that right? Or you're trying to check on YouTube? Okay. So it looks like it might be refresh YouTube or Facebook there just to see. But again, our bandwidth is so bad that we're just not sure that it's getting out to the right spots.
Looks
So
like it's not on Facebook tonight.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's on Facebook. So we don't know what's going on there. But let us know. Let us know that you're on there, and shout out a comment, and let us know what you did this week. Let us know if there's anything exciting. We have been doing crazy, exciting stuff. What did we get to do, by the way, when we went? I want to talk about what's happening for Sam and go back to this whole transition.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to go side by siding. Thank you, Christopher.
Wow.
Oh man,
Yeah.
so fun. That was your first time.
Yeah. And if you've never done side by side,
What'd you think of that?
you have to be brave. Especially if you're riding with John. No, it was so fun. And I discovered that those things are like a tank and they can climb anything. And they're very, very dirty. But it was so much fun.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think I posted a picture on Facebook on my main page, just one of the shots, but there's, doesn't do it justice. Really beautiful.
You take your little bandana and your sunglasses off afterwards and it's just dirt everywhere.
Exactly.
But
it was good.
so worth it. We saw some gorgeous, gorgeous places up in the hills of Bozeman.
Did you like riding or driving better?
Driving.
Mm-hmm. In control. In control.
I still like driving, but I don't know. I'm going to have to learn.
How'd you do today? You did pretty good.
I did okay.
When I'm driving the truck
there were
and the
many
beast.
times I really wanted to slip into the driver's seat, but you
did.
You did a good job.
Oh yeah, back pedal. Yeah. Oh, I did a good job. Sure, give me that one.
He did. He really did.
I did stellar. I was good. Well, so here's the deal. Those that are with us, we're here in Helena. Sam dropped us off. We got up here today from Bozeman. We're going to be heading to Whitefish area. We're going to take a couple days off and go to Glacier and just chill out. Plus, we're going to be meeting with some friends up there in a ministry called Retreat Hood. If you haven't seen retreathood.com, please check it out. Retreathood.com. We'll talk about that next week, I'm sure, because I think next week's coming from Coeur d'Alene. I think we're recording from Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll be
yeah.
next.
So anyway, but those of you that know Shiloh Homestead, all rooms are full. And
Thank you,
it's
Lord.
so cool.
We're so excited.
Yeah, and we're so excited for the guys.
Yeah, just this last week we nailed down the last 2 rooms, and we're really excited about who the Lord has brought.
So today's the day
to be in fellowship.
Yeah, we called Sam this morning.
We called Sam and welcomed him to management, and they start moving in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, if you might be dropping on from Facebook or YouTube and you're joining the live stream right now and you just don't know, our home in Oregon City, we turned into kind of a Christian fraternity for Christian dudes.
Yeah.
Those, different denominations, not denominational, it's not part of ministry. It's just they aspire around the ways of Jesus, and they kind of have the same core values, and
Right.
they wanted to do life together. And so none of them, except two of them do know each other. And I guess Sam knows them all because in the process and has known one from time past. But either way, it's just really cool. We're so excited about the group of guys, very diverse and different, and it's just gonna be great. So they took over our home.
It was strange though when we walked out of our house Saturday morning. We left Saturday morning at 5:30. All the rooms are emptied out. Yeah. All of the pictures of us were down. It's, kind of looks like an Airbnb in there now. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, it just felt kind of weird.
And the rooms are empty except for a bed and a dresser.
We're moving, but we're not. And I don't know. Such a weird time.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's cool, and we're pumped that it's happening.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, we've also finished a little campground, RV hookup, all that. So just kind of like the one we're at here, except it's private, our own, on our property. And so when we go back to Oregon City, we can take the fifth wheel and the truck there. We just back in on our property, and we're looking forward to being there as well as neighbors to the guys at Shiloh Homestead and spending some time with them and mentoring them as well. When we're home and when I can, and just spending time around the campfire and just hanging out with those guys and encouraging them in the ways of Christ. And so
when will we be back?
We're back, I think, I don't know, like the 14th of September or something. Yeah.
So we're on the road now.
So welcome to September. It's September 1st. Wow. That's the day we're recording. Now, some of you guys get this restreamed, so you're not live with us. You're getting it restreamed, and I get that. Totally understand, but this is going live on September 1st, so welcome to September. Hey, let us know, again, shout out some comments to us. Let us know where you are, if you're just hanging out and, perusing and seeing what's happening, or if you're engaging in life with us. Give us a message and let us know.
We haven't seen in a couple weeks now. Unless you're out there and you're just being quiet, is Addie.
Oh, yeah, Addie. No, Addie. She was there last week.
Was she?
I think she was on last week. I can't remember. All right, let us know, man. Yeah, Addie, if you're, chilling out there, let us know. But really, just also give us a thumbs up. Let me know if the audio is coming through, because that's the important thing. We want to make sure that the audio and the videos there, we're going through a very unique portal that we've got to do here in order to be able to do this. And so we really just want to know that it's getting out to you.
Yeah.
So we're having a hard time being able to check and see if it's going out. So we just want to know. We want to make sure. So please let us know if the volume's okay. Let us know if you can hear. And because this is our first portable setup that we've
internet,
done.
So.
Yeah, we're not even, and we're using our phone internet because it was better than the Wi-Fi that we got here. So anyway, that's what's going. And so welcome, Shiloh Homestead dudes, and congratulations, Sam, on being the man. And
you got this, buddy.
Yeah, you got it, dude.
I believe in you.
And that'll be great. So, all right. Well, listen. Any other things I'm forgetting? Any other updates? Anything like that?
What else do we have?
We don't have our normal
we're
big
just
screen.
doing our tour. We're back on the road, and it feels good. And we're excited about all the places that the Lord's going to be taking us to in the next.
Yeah, and just for those that don't know too, that's what we're doing. We're meeting up just like Retreat Hood, but we're also in Coeur d'Alene and other places. We're either meeting with retreat spaces that are already doing the work. They're already doing a great job serving and caring for leader care for pastors and Christian leaders, or they're spaces that we've got contacts and network to where we're praying about, okay, could that be the place? Could that be the space of where we should be for retreat space? And you said at the beginning, it's not Helena. Well, Helena's beautiful. Helen is absolutely beautiful, but one of the challenges we have with most of the Montana spots is they're gorgeous, but very hard to access, especially in the winter. It's hard on the roads.
There's just something about 20 below and 6 feet of snow that I'm like,
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I think mostly it's access, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
just
hard to get.
It's
to
hard
those
to get
places,
here.
and we want it to be accessible for everybody. So
yeah, hard for
yeah.
airport. It's very expensive to fly in
Yeah.
any of the cities, and even at Whitefish, we love Whitefish. We love the state, but it's just really difficult for leaders to access it. Not impossible, but anyway. So the Lord have to make it clear that that's what He would want. But that's that's why we're in Montana. That's why we're in the area. After picking up the rolling home, and we're heading to those places to connect. And
this is a good time to say thank you to all of our supporters out there. You guys are champions, and we're out doing all this. We're the hands and feet, but you guys are the backbone. You make it happen, and we just appreciate your involvement, spreading the word, helping us out. It means everything to us. It's what makes all of the wheels turn, literally. On the
yeah, it really does. So, it makes the wheels on this bus go round.
The wheels on this bus go round and round.
So thank you. You're champions with us, and we're so grateful. And we're excited that you're joining with us for this adventure, because over the next several years, we're going to see some amazing things take place with pastors and leaders. We're already seeing it, and we can't say yet, but we already have some partnerships for this coming year.
It's exciting.
So we're kind of in that scouting over these next several months, and then we're going to be doing some ministry in New Zealand in December and that. But in the new year, in 2023, when we get back in January, we already are looking at our schedule all the way through next fall. So really a year from now, and we're pretty excited.
A lot of opportunities coming up, and it's really exciting. And so thanks for being on the journey with us. We know that this is kind of a not difficult, but just a kind of a crazy time in the ministry as we're feeling this whole thing out. But thanks for sticking it out with us and praying for us, especially those prayers while we're on the road, while we're seeking the Lord for wisdom on where He's guiding us next. We really want to hear from Him and put ourselves in the place that He's calling us to. So thank you for going on the journey with us. We value you guys tremendously.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, before we we're going to do a flashback real quick to last week's show, because that's what we do. And but before we do, I just give comments either now or send us a message. We'd like to know what you would like us to do when it comes to the review for the RV. Do you want us to do a live thing, or do you want us just to record and update you? Let us know what you'd rather do, and over the next week we're going to pull something together and we're going to do it. We might bring it into live stream next week,
taking little videos here and there.
But we'll share the adventures with us. But let us know the kind of questions you may have, or what you're interested in this crazy adventure, and we would love it. So I want to do a quick flashback. Okay. That's the time of the show where we flash back to last week's show, and we talk about something significant, something that came out. We were with John and Candace Rowe, as we talked about, from their space at Mountaintop Oasis. And this is the thing that came out a lot, different comments, is that it doesn't take a scholar, it doesn't take a highly trained human to be able to care for leaders. It can happen by those that have a willing heart, a servant mindset, and who are willing to care and to love. And as we say around Eternal Impact, to love, listen, and serve.
Right.
And yes, it is important to get training. Yes, you should learn. We should grow in our coaching and our abilities to do debrief and so many opportunities of spiritual directorship and the things that we take seriously and we're engaged in and we want to continue to improve in. But something that came out in last week's show is just that it's so important for us to remember that He uses everyday people. Everyday people. And I think sometimes we've been hearing kind of that comment. It's like a little intimidated. It's like if I were to go, and what would I have to offer? I remember that one time we were at a church, and these people who we knew, they're saying, oh man, and they're in retirement age. They're like mid-60s. They're just getting ready to kind of redeploy from their ministry. But they said, oh, I just don't think, what would we do? How would you use us? And we're like, You guys would be amazing. I mean, you ran a business together. You're caring. You raise kids. You're disciple makers. I mean, it's like,
just
come
give it
on.
to God and see what He does.
Yeah. And so that was the thing that came out of last week's show. And I just want to give that little flashback just to remind us that it doesn't take extra special gifting. It takes supernatural gifting. And you've got all that you need if God's calling you to that. If He is honing you around that little commission, if you will, and is wanting you to have a new awareness, a new alertness to the needs of your spiritual leaders and those around you. And again, it may be a pastor, it may be an associate pastor, maybe any type of pastor, an evangelist, missionary, it may be missionaries that you serve. It may be your Fellowship of Christian Athletes leader, or Young Life, or InterVarsity, whatever. It could be any of those things. But if there's an awareness, there's a peak in your interest about, I'd like to help out more leaders and do what I can to care for them, then man, there are opportunities for you. So I just want to encourage you, think about that. Contact us, reach out to us. We'll even help you. We'll give you the resources you need to get you dialed in for that, because it's so important. Okay, it's so important. So that was our flashback, just to remember that it doesn't take a degree in order to do leader care and to help others with their soul care. It just takes a willingness, a servant heart, humility, and a willingness to serve. So.
Right. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me too is helping out with practical stuff. So your spiritual leaders doing simple things like Candace said, just offering babysitting, and letting them get a break and, supporting them just in little things. Makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a big difference. Yeah. You may not have a big check to write, or things like that, but just that could, that's a great example. Yeah. I mean, I think when we had kids and the people that would watch our kids, because we couldn't really afford to get babysitters and even to go out, and so we'd go on a simple date.
Yeah,
and
but it gave us a date night,
it gave us a date night.
Yeah, so think of ways to support your spiritual leaders just in everyday practical stuff, mowing their grass or watching their kids or anything like that. It really does go a long way. So that was a good conversation last week. I enjoyed that.
Really was. Hey, we're having a little bit of trouble getting the messages, so I'm just getting alerted to that. We're not sure what that is, not getting a lot in. So feel free to comment still. We'll try and look on the individual profile to get it, but we'd love to know where you're coming in from and who's there tonight. So give us a shout out and a hello from wherever you are. We're here in Helena, Montana. If you're just jumping in tonight and doing our live stream, Live It Out live stream from Helena in our new rolling home. Yeah. And so we'll be mobile quite a bit over this next year, really. Yep. But mobile... But this will probably be
to this view.
Yeah, we'll have different set in the background where we might do it outside, different things like that. But anyway, we rolled in tonight. We're going to jump into forgiveness tonight a little bit. But we rolled in tonight, and if you weren't here from the beginning and you just joined us, we were even saying you're going to have to forgive us because it's not as dialed in as it could be, because we literally rolled in here, got everything unhooked, got the stinky slinky hooked up, got the electricity, got water, got everything hooked up, and got some air conditioning on, which we had to turn off since then. It's starting to get hot in here.
It is getting hot
because we had to turn it off because it was too much background noise. But we didn't have time to eat. We didn't have to do anything. It's like, I had some popcorn things, whatever, popcorners. They're delicious.
It's just a big learning curve with all this. So we unhitched it, pulled the truck away, and then realized that we couldn't open the side flaps to get to our stuff because we parked too close to some other things. So we
did it again.
So we had to hook back up, move 10 or 5 feet, and then unhook it again. And that's a lot of
practice,
work.
Though, hon.
We're going to get this down.
That's good. That's good. So anyway. All right. Well, that's what's going on. And so thanks for being forgiving. Because we want to talk just briefly tonight. Yeah. And we'll end a little short tonight because we're not as prepared. But, we spent a lot of time talking about forgiveness. And it would be wonderful if you would send in any questions, any comments, things that you have. And when you send questions in, send them with a Q. Q : and then what your question is, just so when we go through the search, although we're struggling getting them tonight, so it may be a little difficult, but try and send them in, and we'll try and catch them on the other platform and see what we can do. But let's make sure to ask any question about forgiveness. Forgiveness, I will just say, even over the last month, I'm very cautious in the kind of details and locations and things like that I share about people, because it's confidential, and that's not, I want to make up names or whatever.
Right.
But there's been just 5 or 6 just in this last month that have been meeting with me for consultation or coaching or shepherding, and just wanting to get some feedback around some relationships. And forgiveness has always come up. Every time it has come up. And forgiveness is at the core of the gospel. It is such at the core of the gospel.
We even saw that sign today.
What's that?
That real Christians forgive like Jesus.
That's right.
That's a big billboard that we passed.
Yeah, real Christians forgive like Jesus.
Real Christians forgive like Jesus.
Yeah, and that was true. That's true. Yeah, I don't even remember what town that was in, but yeah, between Bozeman and here. Yeah, and it's true. But I also know that forgiveness isn't easy. Right. It's not like this thing, well, just forgive and forget, and just do it. That's silly. I mean, that's just some weird playground theology. And I'm just saying, I know it's serious. But I know that it's at the core of God's love for us, and the way he interacts with us, and the way in which he demonstrates his love to us is through forgiveness. Because I've needed forgiveness, no question about it. And it's interesting that even in the Lord's Prayer, or some call the Disciples' Prayer, that Jesus taught the disciples, and not that I think that we have to I think it's wonderful to memorize that prayer. I think it'd be great. And there's times when I just pray that prayer. That's the prayer. I just pray it slowly. Yeah. But I got to tell you, there's power within the teaching and really the theology and what he's wanting to communicate around even the Lord's Prayer, the Disciples' Prayer. When he's saying, forgive me, in that section where he says, forgive me for my sins, and let me forgive those who have sinned against me. So he's linking the core element of forgiveness with our relationship with him vertically, and our relationship with others horizontally. And quite honestly, we don't have time to dive into hermeneutically to what it's about when it goes in. And I think it's in the book of Luke when it talks about if you've not forgiven your brother, then how can the Father forgive you? And I think a better way maybe to even hear that and respond around that text and that scripture is, how can you experience my forgiveness? If you can't forgive others, how are you going to know what that's like to experience my forgiveness, which I offer you? Yeah. So I want us to just first of all recognize the power and the importance of forgiveness as the central turning point in our relationship with the triune God. And it's so central to what Jesus not only taught, but what he demonstrated. Because we understand now, when we step back and look at the full story of the Old Testament, New Testament, thousands of years of history, we realize that what Christ did for us by paying the price for us on a cross was an act of forgiving us. He even said on the cross, he said what about those that were persecuting, those that were killing? He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Right. I mean, this idea that even at the deepest level of grief in his humanity, because we know that he left all the beauty, the power, the wonder of heaven in order to be incarnate and be with us on the earth, or be with humanity, and come in that representation and demonstrate the fullness of God. And when he did that, he went through the pain of the pain of betrayal, the pain of persecution, the pain of death, and all of that he did on our behalf. And so we recognize that when we see the example that Jesus gave, and in the teaching that he taught his disciples, right, when he taught them. Yeah. I don't know. There's more for us to dive into here. Anything? I don't want to enter anything. Just you're thinking on forgiveness on just covering anything on that, and I'll go into the next section here that I was going to talk about.
You
covered it. That's what you're saying. Okay. Well, let's talk for a second. Let me give a couple scriptures. First, Romans 12:19. Do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. In other words, we can turn the pain and the hurt and that over to God because He's the one, He's holy enough, He's righteous enough to deal with that. We're not.
Right.
I'm not. I can't take revenge or vengeance. I don't have that, authority within me. And He calls us in this personal forgiveness, this very personal forgiveness, to even love our enemies. Now, does that mean that we're pacifists, or we don't believe we could defend myself, or if someone broke in to attack Jennifer, that I wouldn't stand in the gap between the perpetrator and her? Absolutely. I'm not. It's a whole other subject for us to get into when it comes to wars and defense and all of those things that come with it. But I want us to really be thinking about this core element that God has called us to, and that is, at our core, to live a life. If we're going to live a life in the ways of Jesus, and that's what we talk about, Live It Out live stream, is living out the gospel, not just having it and saying, okay, yeah, it's great, and put it in our pocket and say we'll keep it as a coupon for heaven or something like that. No, it is literally so that it will be activated in our life. And so forgiveness cannot just sit on the shelf as a theological or a philosophical idea. It has to be lived out. And so for a moment, I want us just to talk about what forgiveness is not. Because again, I want to reiterate, it's not easy. Okay? No. That's what I want. It's not an easy fix. It's not just a pat answer. It's really something that takes an intentionality on our part. And it's challenging, because when Jesus says things like, man, I want you to love, I want you to express love to even your enemies.
To your enemies.
Yeah, we talked about that on this broadcast before. Yeah. That's powerful. That is a tipping point, by the way, of every major religion, Christianity versus any other religion. I mean, Islam, that I'm aware, does not. Buddhism does not. Certainly Hinduism does not. I mean, it's like, this is a major thing. I want you to not just love people or love your neighbor or love your brothers and sisters, but no, I want you to even love your enemies. And that takes some forgiveness.
And that's where the healing starts.
Yeah.
That's where our journey to healing begins, when we're able to let go and forgive.
Yeah. And it's not forgetting, but let's talk about it. Let's just talk about that, because forgiveness is not something that happens first. First of all, it doesn't happen first. It's not the first emotion. It's not the first act that happens.
Don't just say, well, I forgive you.
Yeah, I forgive you. It's not the first. It doesn't happen quickly. Okay? It doesn't happen easily. And I'm talking about personal forgiveness. I'm not just talking about forgiveness of a worldview or thing. I mean, a personal, we've been injured. And there's been a personal, a need for personal forgiveness. It doesn't happen quickly. It's not easy. It does not happen unintentionally. It's not like, oh, well, it'll happen. I just
slipped into forgiveness.
Yeah, I just slipped into forgiveness. No. Especially the more personal the injury, the more deep. I think they call that
the stuffing it.
Yeah,
if you think you're going to slip into forgiveness, really all you've done is stuff it. Right?
Yeah, you stuffed it away, and it's not going to happen. Yeah. And forgiveness is not weakness. It's not weakness. And it's also not approving or dismissing. Okay,
that's important too, yeah, because I know I have had the tendency of thinking if I forgive, then it somehow is condoning that bad behavior that they did. And so I don't want to forgive, because they might think it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And forgiveness is not enabling sin. Okay. It is not denying the wrongdoing. It's not doing that. Okay. It's not waiting for an apology. It's not like, okay, I'll forgive you, and I'm waiting for the apology. No, and it's not forgetting. This idea of
forgive and forget.
Yeah, forget.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it's hard to forget. Yeah. And sometimes you never will forget.
Yeah, and forgiveness, in even God, when he talks about, forgetting as far as the east is to the west, is it that he doesn't remember? I mean, he does no longer the creator of the universe, omnipresent, omniscient. He no longer remembers. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, some will disagree with me. I remember there was a song, a Morgan Cryer song. It was a really cool song, What Sin? Yeah. But that was, you can look that one up. Check it out. If anyone knows that song, send out a link to it on YouTube or whatever. Put it in the links. But Morgan Cryer, it was a cool song. I really liked it. But there's that point. It's like, I hope, I don't know what Morgan was trying to communicate in it, but it wasn't that he was saying that God doesn't remember. He was just saying he doesn't hold it against us. Is that he pays the price for it. It's not that it didn't exist. It's not like, oh, what are you talking about? What is it? It's like, no, it's just you're no longer being held for that sin.
Wow.
But he does remember. I mean, he does remember. He may throw it as far as the east as the west, your shame, and that is good. And he forgives. That is awesome. But he remembers. So forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not ceasing to feel the pain. Forgiveness is not ceasing to feel the pain. I was dealing with a leader recently who's going through a painful divorce, betrayal, disappointment, pain. I mean, it's just a hurt, and there's children involved. I mean, it's so painful, so painful. I mean, I just was, as he's sharing stories. This was recently, sharing the story and how my heart was just grieved for the situation he was in, and he's crying about. I'm touched by the story, and I'm touched by the pain because I was feeling it. I love this person. I wanted to journey with them. And it's painful. So it's important for us to remember forgiveness is not ceasing to feel pain. It's also not a one-time event like, okay, I forgive, done. Now.
Oh, really?
It can be, okay? It can be, but there's things that when we're going through the process of forgiveness, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to wrap up talking about this process of forgiveness. Yeah. We got to see it as a process and not just like this event, like, oh, okay, I forgive. It's almost like, two kids, they're one's bleeding, one's got a little dust on his hands from throwing the rock. They come together, they talk about it, and the teacher at the playground says, okay, now you just forgive and forget and go on. And it's like, no, it doesn't quite work like that. There needs to be a recognition of what happened. It's not, forgiveness is not neglecting justice. It's not neglecting justice. And forgiveness is not trusting as well. Let me just be clear. I can forgive someone and maybe not trust them.
Right.
Okay? I can love someone and not trust them. You and I have all been in that situation where there are people that we love deeply, but we don't trust them. Mm-hmm. We may not even trust them to not be injured, that we wouldn't be injured again by that person, because they may have such habitual actions in their life, behaviors that are so injurious that you continue to get injured. And so it's not neglecting justice, and it's not trusting. It is loving, and it is forgiving, but it is not instant trust. And lastly, here's the thing that I just want us to think about, and then we're just going to talk about the process a little bit of forgiveness. It is not reconciliation. Now, I want you to let that simmer for a sec. Forgiveness is not necessarily reconciliation. Right. Okay? And so that is different. I hold the keys in relationships in my life. I hold the keys to forgiveness. I hold it. They hold the keys to reconciliation. They may very well not want reconciliation. They may not want it. They may not even want forgiveness. That's not on that. They don't hold the keys to forgiveness. I get that. Right. If someone, if I forgive someone and we're not reconciled and they die the next day, I forgive them. I choose to forgive. Now, are we reconciled? Not on this side of eternity. Not on this side. But I'm saying that I can forgive them. So if there's those of you that are out there, and again, we may not be able, I'm saying this, and I don't even know if we can get the comments, so I apologize for that. But if you have questions, we'll try and search. But I want you to do that. Let us know.
While we're waiting to see if there's any comments that make it in. So backing up a few of those, so you're saying, I might have to forgive more than once. Not because they re-hurt me, although they might do that as well, but if there's something that I was sinned against and I've forgiven, but maybe I find myself struggling with it again, I can forgive them again. Because you said it isn't a one-time event.
Yeah, I guess what I meant by that, by the one-time event, is I don't need to keep forgiving and forgiving and forgiving and forgiving for the same thing, or that means I haven't forgiven. But there is a process. You know, and that's where it's a good question, and I want us to just talk briefly because we just have just a couple minutes, and we're of course going to leave time for dad jokes for sure. I got some good dad jokes today too. Oh man, but that's the process. So that's what I want us to do.
Yeah.
And I need to give credit where credit is due. There's
Yeah.
I didn't bring my book with me. I didn't bring stuff, and I just left the office without it. But this material, although I've processed through it and personally experienced and went through the journey myself, so many things forgive for personal injuries in my life. I want to just give credit first of all to Byron Keeler.
Yeah.
He was a therapist I went to in years past. I don't even know if Byron's still. I'm sure he is. He's got material out there, and he's probably still active, helping others in that journey. But I give credit to Byron for the work that he has helped him on this, as well as Beverly Flanagan. And she wrote the book Forgiving the Unforgivable. And she's since passed away. But if you haven't got that book, Forgiving the Unforgivable, that is a powerful book. It's Wiley Press, 1992, I think was the last publishing in 92. And so there might be another publishing since then. But either way, I just want you to check those resources out. Beverly was a professor. She was not a follower of Jesus that I'm aware of. She was very God honoring. But when both getting information from Byron and from Flanagan, reading her book and so many others, I kind of, go through this process of 6. She talks about 6 processes of forgiveness. And I remember when I was connecting with Byron around this, I remembered specifically them, he connecting them to the gospel, connecting these to the gospel. It's like, oh, well, even though she might not have written them from a gospel mindset and framework, all good things are hijacked from the gospel, right? Because
It's truth.
a triune God is the ultimate of truth, the creator of life, the sustainer of life, and so these principles are there. So I want us to just talk about the 6 steps of forgiveness, and I'm gonna go through them very quickly. Now you're not gonna get if you think that we're in 5 to 10 minutes, of the time we have left, actually 5 to 7 minutes, that we're gonna go through this in depth. We're not. So another time, but this gives you a stimulus to be thinking about, and I really want you to be thinking about this because forgiveness is critical. Yeah. It is critical. If we can't forgive, we are going to carry around hurt and pain and bitterness in our lives.
It will eat you alive. We've known people who could not forgive, and it just eats away at their soul. Their soul.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
it does. It eats away
like
at your
cancer.
Soul. Yep, it's a soul cancer. That's good. I don't think we ever said that before, but you're right. That's it. It's a soul cancer. Unforgiveness, soul cancer. So, let me just name a few of these. And again, if you want to comment, great, but I don't know if we're getting a ton of the comments, so forgive us for that. We'll look at them later. You can personal message us as well. Those that have our text numbers, you can text us. But let me just go through these 6 steps, and I just want you to let them simmer. And a lot of times when I talk to folks that are going through this process, I remind them, don't just put these in the microwave and want to, have them all make sense and work together. Put them in the crock pot. Okay, put them in a crock pot to where you can let them simmer. Let them process through, okay? So number 1, and I'm just going to give you the first 3 phases because I think the first 3 and then the second 3, have a nice flow to them. And so the first one is name it. The second one is claim it. And the next one is blame it. All right. And here's what I mean by that. And I make them simple like that so that you can just remember them. Name it, claim it, blame it. So first of all, we want to be able to name the injury. Naming the injury is vital. I'm going to look at my notes here because first phase focuses upon recognizing the scope and the depth of the injury. This is where we're feeling the pain. What does the injury mean and cost? Let's be honest about it. What does it involve? But let's not pretend that it doesn't exist or sweep it under the carpet or, as Jennifer said, stuff it. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, maybe they didn't mean it, or start sticking up for them or making, excuses or whatever. No, just name it. Name it. Name what it is. The second one is claim it. Claim the injury for yourself. So in other words, claiming the injury is the phase of taking ownership. It hurt. And this is why when you claim the injury, you stop defending yourself against it. You stop rationalizing your behavior of the offender. You accept the permanent changes, the result of the offense. You accept that you cannot undo your own harm. Now, understand, we said this already, deep personal injuries. I mean, we're not making this trite, and that's why we said in the very beginning, some things are pretty easy to forgive.
Right.
Okay, hey, you ran over my foot.
You've forgiven me at least a dozen times today.
Yeah, saying the wrong, telling you to go left when she means to go right. And you're backing in towards the trailer, and she keeps going, go right, go right.
And I really mean left.
And I kept going right, and nothing ever lines up. But those are simple things. You know, there's other things. There's lies that happen. There's things that, but I do not want to make light of deeply painful things that have happened in our lives. Yeah. Murders, deaths, betrayals, abuses, things that, you know, are dramatic in our lives. And so I don't want to make light of those. I want you just to understand. So when I talk about these processes, it's important for you to recognize that we understand and that these are not trivial. Okay. And that's why we talked about being a process. It's really important. It's a process. It is not something just happens like that. So we name it, we claim it, and then we blame it. This is important. We blame the injurer. You don't need to stick up for them. You know, you don't
make
need
excuses.
Don't make excuses. Just blame them. I don't say blame them personally and speak to them and say blame. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in your conscience, as you're processing, it's a process. You have to name the injury, you have to claim it for yourself, and you have to blame them. To forgive someone, you must blame someone. Is there such a thing as forgiveness without blame?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, what would you have to forgive them for? Blame them. And again, I'm not saying verbally blame them. Write them a note and blame them. That's not what I'm saying. Don't do that. Don't do that. But in your heart, you got to name the injury, claim it for yourself, and you got to be able to blame them. And you know what? I want people to be able to blame me. If I just want to defend myself of why I don't need to blame me, how terrible would that be? I've told all of my children at one time, multiple times, please be willing to blame your dad. Blame your mom for things that we've done that are wrong. I'm not saying, and at times you may need to come to me. Sometimes you may need to talk to me. You may need to present to me some things to change the boundaries, which we'll talk about in a second. But certainly, I would never want to keep someone else from blaming me if I've done something wrong, because I would be stopping them from being able to forgive me. I don't want that. I want, the only reason they would forgive me is if they need blamed. And here's the thing. Man, we got to go fast because we only have a few minutes. That's what Jesus did for us. God loves us so much, he gave Christ. He forgave. He said on the cross, it is finished. He forgave us. But that doesn't mean that we're reconciled. Okay? He blamed me, though. It was my fault. Yeah. I'm the sinner. I'm the one. I'm the one that needs born again. It's not someone else. I'm the one. And so he loves us so much that he did that for us. Now, I hold the keys to reconciliation. He holds the keys to forgiveness. He forgives. But that doesn't mean I'm reconciled just because of what he does on the cross. Right. I have to come to him. And that's this idea of me presenting myself to him. So we're going to get more into that later another time. But just think about that. Now, these last three, I got to do them quickly. It is simply this: new balance, new choice, new birth. New balance, new choice, new birth. So name it, claim it, blame it. Okay. And then new balance. Okay, new choice, new birth. Okay, what do I mean by that? Simply this: new balance. The task of balancing the scales are different from those of claiming and blaming. The activities are intentionally directed towards empowerment, not more understanding. Let that simmer. It's about empowerment, not more understanding. You don't need to understand more. That was in the first three phases, or the first three processes. There's no more to understand about the injury. It is time to move ahead. So there needs to be, the goals are now to gain strength over the injury. Okay? You've named it, you've claimed it, you've blamed the person, and now you don't need more understanding. Why did they do this? Why did it happen? You've went through that process. But the next one is new balance. And I wish I had more time to go on this. I don't. But, just Jesus Christ's example of this in Luke 23:24. From now on, the Son of Man will be seated at the right hand of the Almighty. Okay, so in other words, it's done. It's finished, and that's the new boundary. That's what it is. I don't have time to go into all the scriptures. I wish I did. but just time is against us right now. So the new balance, okay, the new balance, you're balancing the scales. Is basically the new balance is balancing the scales. New choice, choosing to forgive. You get a choice. There's no such thing as forgiveness without choosing to forgive. It's not like perpetual motion in space. You just kick it and it just happens. It's just going to go in. No, you have to choose. Yeah.
Like you said, you don't slip into it.
You don't slip into it. So you have to choose. Choosing to forgive is guided by and generated from clear-headed thinking. It springs from self-preservation. What does the choice to forgive really mean? It means you no longer expect the person who injured you to owe you anything. You no longer look at why the injury happened. You now look at what you will do and who you will be in the future. Okay? And man, I could give so many examples of that in my own life where I've just been painfully betrayed or hurt or abused or whatever word that would be. And boy, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to camp with name, blame, and claim, or name, claim, and blame. I don't want to do that. I want new balancing and a new choice to forgive. And with that, lastly comes new birth. A person who succeeds in forgiving an intimate injury has gone through a conversion. And again, we're talking about intimate injuries. Some of these things, playground issues, they're going to go quick. But the process is still there. The process is there. It just happens in seconds, minutes. It can happen. But when these are very personal, when these are intimate injuries, we understand that the process is lengthened and it's a crock pot, not a microwave. Okay? Okay? So it is. And so it's important for us to remember that. The world is different forever. Intimate injuries present you with one of life's rare opportunities to change fundamentally. To really be able to transform one's essential beliefs is a chance of a lifetime. To do it well is an art, my friend. It's an art. So here's what we know. God calls us to forgive. He sets the example by forgiving us and offering us grace. And he asks us to receive that grace and then be an ambassador of that grace to others. And we know that by grace, we can have new birth and freedom. So be thinking about those, naming the injury, claiming the injury for yourself, blaming the individual, not sticking up for them, having a new, I lost it already,
balance.
A balance, yeah. A new balance, balancing the scales, turn them over to the tax collector or the bill collector. It's not yours you send them to Guido, but it's God. He is the one. He's the equalizer. So turn them over to him, let him be the equalizer. And then a new choice to forgive and experience new birth. So that's what we have on forgiveness from Helena, Montana. And that's what we got going. A lot going on. Sorry for the tech issues. Sorry for us not being able to interact with comments a ton. But know that you're loved, and we hope that that's helpful for you. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And little dad joke. We got 1 minute left.
We got 1 minute.
Give it a couple.
You go first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, now I got to remember the. remember the small arms.
Right there.
Oh yeah. Which one is it? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I always buy my guns from a guy named T-Rex. He's a small arms dealer. I like that one.
I like that one too.
That,
that one, by the way, came from my niece.
Oh yeah, that
Kelsey.
was good.
Thank
good
you,
job,
Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome.
Well, the other day I saw this burglar, and he was kicking in his own door.
Really?
I think he was working from home.
Working from home. Okay, we got no sound effects on this, but
burglar working from home.
I got it. It was funny. That's a pretty good one. That is a good one. All right, hey, love you, everybody. Have a great night. And from Helen, Montana, we say goodbye. And remember, just like every week when we sign off, we just want to remind you that the phrase that I genuinely pray that the joy of life and the gift of His grace will be tangible in and through you as you live it out. So have a great night, blessings, and we will see you next week from another location.
See ya.
Bye-bye.